Do you want to climb Denali? Then this video is for you, because we're going to go beyond the hype of conquering one of the world's greatest challenge and instead focus on 5 realities I wish I had known before stepping on that mountain. And for the first time, I'm going to share a little bit about some of the tragedy I've experienced in mountaineering. So let's go. I assume that everyone who showed up for Denali would be ready to run an Ironman and be willing to be an equal team participant, but the truth is you're gonna get who you get. All it takes to get on a guided climb is completing the prep course and paying the fee. We had guys who would walk around and try and find the lightest load so they had an easier carry for the day. We had people who would only focus on building their own little tent plot instead of building the entire camp. In fact, we even had a guide that as soon as it was time to strike camp would all of a sudden become really interested in getting intel from the other camps and disappear. The key is we have to be ready to maintain our control and our focus in an environment where we're going to feel tired and stressed out. But since I'm not on an expedition right now, let me take this moment to formally say, screw you. The reality of climbing Denali is actually really boring. We spent 9 days at 11,000 feet because of an Arctic blizzard. That's 30% of the entire expedition, wondering if we were even going to get to the upper mountain. And as tough as we like to think we are, there is nothing worse for highly ambitious people than spending 9 days listening to your thoughts. And that's the time to try and have some fun, digging a hole or building some elaborate bathroom or learning a new card game. But just remember, the day to have your steak dinner isn't after summit day, it's after spending day 7 of doing absolutely nothing. Saying it's cold on Denali is an understatement. The sun's gonna go below the horizon and you have to get in your sleeping bag because now you're in a survival situation. It's a consideration not from the standpoint of are you tough enough to handle the cold. It's a tactical consideration of making sure you're totally dialed in with your gear. I had a day where my balaclava wasn't covering up the tip of my nose. I could feel the frost nip, so I had to huff hot air up to keep it warm, but that was fogging up my goggles. It's a situation where a small mistake turns into a big problem. So with the cold, we got to make sure that we're unwrapping our food so we don't have to take our gloves off and constantly managing the cold so we're not reacting to it. But what I didn't expect was the literal marketplace at 14,000 feet. Groups coming up, giving off people that weren't cleared for the upper mountain and teams coming down, giving off their extra goods. You bring a surplus of supplies to Denali, say in case you get caught at base camp for 7 days waiting for a plane, but most groups end up with more fuel and food than they need. And instead of carrying it all the way down, they offer it up to anyone else who wants to take it. So you'll end up going through people's snacks and finding what you like. For me, I ended up with some cinnamon flavored marshmallows, which were amazing on summit day. If you've made it this far, I hope you'll do me the kindness of supporting my channel by subscribing to it. Something we don't talk a lot about is risk. And on a big mountain like Denali, that risk isn't theoretical, it's real. People are gonna lose their hand to frostbite, they're gonna get caught in an avalanche, and it's not viewed as some catastrophic error of judgment. It's just something that happens up there. You'll hear the guides talk about the death of their friends not as a tragedy, but as some opportunity to have a banger of a party. And that doesn't mean that we make light of it. It just allows us to have an objective reality of what level of risk we're willing to take when we go up there. On my trip to Aconcagua, my tent mate, just a couple hundred feet from the summit, stopped being able to move his legs and literally right there on the mountain died. We were a couple thousand feet from the nearest helicopter pad and a weather system had been blowing in. It was tragic, but he died doing something he loved, and that's how I feel about it. That's how I share this information with my family. So Denali, it's objectively safe. It's not likely to be you or someone in your group, but you will see tragedy happen. It's not a controlled environment. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one.